Hey, Cyndilu here, coming to you live from New Zealand. And I am here with the beautiful, wonderful Yong Pratt. And I am actually having a couple of tech issues this morning. So I'm going to make Yong solo and let her go while I go ahead and jump out of the room and back in. So, Yong, I'm so excited to have you here this morning. And I'm very excited to hear what you're going to share with us about podcasts in a weekend. And I also want to hear a lot about what you're doing with the young people in your area and globally now. So please introduce yourself.
Thank you, Cyndilu. I am thrilled to be here with you this morning. My name is Yong Pratt, and if we haven't met, I'm a 17-year performing arts studio owner turned chief dreamer and podcaster at Our Young Creators. What we love to do at OYC is help people harness the power of technology by learning skills to become creators and not just consumers. And when I talk about people, I mean people of all ages. We have creators who've taken our programs who are young kids, 10, 11, 12-year-olds, all the way up into creative adults. And so that's what we love to do, is to be able to really serve people and show them that this idea of technology and devices aren't a bad thing if we can start to become really intentional with how we use technology in our lives and how we can use technology to serve other people as well. So just to give you a little backstory on Our Young Creators, it actually started last fall as an experiment with my 11-year-old daughter. And at the time, I had a virtual assistant, and it wasn't really going the way I wanted anymore. So it was time to end that relationship. However, I wasn't convinced that I wanted to hire another virtual assistant right away, because there's lots of training and lots of education and lots of side-by-side learning that needs to happen. So what I did instead is I chatted with my girls, both of which grew up in my studio talking to clients and customers and doing a lot of things backstage and behind the scenes to make everything run. They had previously helped me do some video editing and had done some work on the website for me. So I approached them both and asked them if they might be interested. And my oldest, who was 14 at the time, was not so keen on that because, mom is not very cool when you're a 14-year-old, right? So she was out, and my 11-year-old kind of jumped in because I positioned it as an opportunity for us to snuggle up side by side and laugh and learn together. And that was really the whole start of Our Young Creators, that she was learning side by side with me. I was teaching her very adult skills, like how to put together a website, how to do things for my podcast, how to create graphics that were consistent with our branding. And what I discovered is that she full-heartedly jumped in and she owned these tasks. I had given her some guidelines, but what she always came back with was amazing to me and far better than what I ever could have come up with. So that was really a light bulb moment. And then when I started sharing this story with other entrepreneurs who had kids, they all kind of said, wait, I want to do that with my kids. They're younger now. However, I know I want them to grow up in my business. I want them to be involved. So we can start to really mentor the idea of becoming an entrepreneur and creating your own life and your own adventures and your own economy and not having to rely on somebody else. So fast forward now, both of my girls are very involved in the business. Both of them actually work for other people outside of mom now. So both of them are able to start funding their future adventures like college and cars and all those fun things.
That is awesome. Now, how old are your girls now?
So they're 12 and 15. So it's been almost a year since we sort of embarked on this journey. And just in a single year, it's amazing how quickly this idea has really resonated with lots of parents. And when I talk to parents locally and just friends I have across the world, one of their biggest questions for me is, how do I get my kids off their devices? And having been an educator of kids for the past 2 decades, I was asking them the question back, well, what if there's a better question to ask? Because I don't think that's the answer, to just take their phones away and be done with it. Because, kids are resourceful. If you take their device away, they have a number of friends lined up who have access to devices. So they're going to find a way around it because you said no. But if you said, hey, yes, you can use this device. However, I want you to be able to help other people and create things. So we're just not scrolling feeds and just living vicariously through other people. It's about teaching them that it's possible, one, to use their devices to create an opportunity for themselves that we're not maybe able to see right now. But because kids are so in tune with their devices, they're very natural. I mean, if there's the saying about, if you need something done on your new phone or your computer, grab the next door neighbor's 10-year-old kid, because they'll be able to figure it out in 30 seconds flat. And I have definitely seen that to be true. And when kids start to understand that they have the power to make things, they have the power to put their own spin on things, they have the power to go out there and serve people and get compensated for their amazing talents, that's when the kids start to get really excited about, oh, what do I get to learn next?
It's so true. When we have the opportunity to see what working with technology can do, and we have the opportunity to step into new arenas, we get so excited. And I know the kids are absolutely probably getting way more excited than even we are.
Yeah, and just the response from kids when I talk to them specifically about this idea of learning something, applying something, and then going out to serve, they're really excited about how they can help other people. And I know that might sound contrary to what people's views of kids are. However, I've just seen the power of giving kids permission, giving them responsibility, having an expectation of what the outcome is. And that creates a beautiful, dynamic environment for them to thrive.
That is so awesome. Now, you originally have been working with kids, and how did you end up working with us old fogies like me? Because I'm not sure, in case anybody's listening now, if they haven't met me, I started the Be Bold You podcast, where I help people. Be Bold You is all about helping people turn their life's twists and turns into something beautiful. And I had an 8-year dream to take that to a podcast. But every time I looked at courses, they were thousands of dollars and weeks of time. And I was like, no, I want to do it now. And I knew there had to be a simpler way.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's an interesting sort of story because most people would not equate a dancer or a dance teacher to being very tech savvy. But I find myself in this interesting world where I can kind of bridge the two in an interesting sort of way, because I bring my choreographer's aesthetic, if you will, to this tech world, which makes it really beautiful. And it's all about choreographing these next things in life with technology, which is a super cool thing to think about. But it's interesting because when I first moved back to my hometown where I currently live, after traveling and performing throughout the world, I started teaching at my local college, and I was teaching adults. And I was teaching them dance because I had had all these amazing opportunities and experiences there weren't any classes for me to take, so I figured the next best thing was to teach other people what I had learned. So I did just that, and I had these beautiful women in my class, many of them who were moms, many of them who danced when they were younger, and then they started asking me about classes for their kids. So the studio was a next progression of that. And all the while I had my studio, it was always about being able to shine the spotlight on these kids. We had so many students that would come to us and their parents would say things like, she's doing really badly in school, or he's getting bullied because he just doesn't fit in. And what I discovered is that when they stepped into our classroom, we gave them permission to be themselves and, to use your words, to be bold. And their parents were seeing these amazing transformations. And now that I moved into technology, it's interesting as well, because technology for people who are parents or who are grandparents or any age past about the age of 18, sometimes there's the intimidation factor that comes with technology, because for some of us, we stop learning after we graduate from high school. We don't want to engage in that. So it was an interesting way to bring back learning and knowledge to people of all ages. And we were really interested in working with kids and families. And when we first started launching out and teaching people about podcasting, it was a longer, bigger class. It was an 8-week experience where we took kids and their parents, and side by side, they learned all the sort of traditional ways of podcasting. I would call them the old school ways, if that makes sense. It was all very manual, all very kind of tedious. And in the process of my own podcasting adventure, I've been able to discover some really amazing, like I call them my super secret ninja tricks and tools, because by employing more technology to do my podcast, all of a sudden there's this magic and we can do it faster than we thought possible. And the whole reason I got to doing adults again was because our mutual friend, Kim White, wanted to podcast. She did not want to take my 8-week course, and she just said, no, I want it faster. And I had another friend that we were brainstorming, and she said, it'd be really kind of cool if you were able to do something in a weekend, because parents are generally home, kids are home, they have some time, and it gives them a taste of what is possible without having to spend 8 weeks doing it. So I took all that together, and with Kim's encouragement and her collaboration class, we collaborated on podcast in a weekend. And I'm super excited because, Cyndilu, you went through this class, and I love your story that 8 years of dreaming of podcasting, and in one weekend, you were able to make that dream come true. I mean, there's no better gift that I could ever receive than seeing what this is going to do for you and your business.
Well, the best thing for me was really that I didn't get hung up on the equipment, because so often the other courses I would get stuck on, I don't have this, I don't have that, I can't do it this way, I can't do it that way. So the way that you incorporate it with Facebook Live, which a lot of us are already doing, has absolutely revolutionized my world, my online world. And the fact of the collaboration course with Kim has got me doing these interviews, which I have fallen in love with doing. I just enjoy them so much. And they're so much fun. And I get to highlight other people and their boldness and what they're doing in their bold lives. So it is just awesome. And I'm so grateful to have met you through that process a little bit more and gotten to know you more. And the podcast in a weekend course changed my direction of my business for sure.
Oh, that's so amazing. And I love it, because now you can step into this whole idea of being bold yourself as you're guiding people to be bold too, because you've taken this leap. You have jumped off the cliff with both feet, and you said yes to wanting more people to hear from you, because there's always that one person out there waiting to hear your message. And with a podcast, they can do it so easily. They have a device in their hand almost all day long, or on their person, And the fact that your message is right there at literally the click of a button, there's so much power in that. And so for anyone listening, I'm really here to say that, there's going to be people who out there in the podcasting world who will vehemently disagree with how I teach podcasting. And you know what? That's okay, because this is a process that I've been tweaking since 2013, and it works for me. I know it works for my students, and we're really just taking what you're already creating and amplifying it, 100 times by the processes we put in place in a single weekend.
Yeah. And the thing is that, yes, it may not be perfect. It may have its little messiness here and there. But is a message out there to the world bit messy better than a message stuck inside somebody who has, is screaming to share their message with the world? And I believe that every person has a message to bring, and every person is important to share that message. So I'm so grateful for what you have given us. So tell people where they can go to find out more about it.
When we're wrapped up with this video, I'll come back in and just post a link where you can find out more information about podcasts in a weekend, because we're kicking off this next round 2 already, this Friday. So if podcasting is on your wish list, or if you're a parent out there watching this live or this replay or listening on the podcast, and you're looking for a way to start bonding with your kids over the time they're spending on their devices and helping them to learn how they can harness the power of technology to literally change the course of their future, this class is exactly what you need. And the fact that it is a weekend means that we're going to get it done. Speed is going to be our absolute friend. We are going to take massive action together, and there's going to be a community of people inside this class that are going to be there to support each and every one of you at every step of the process. Cyndilu has graciously agreed to step inside and be there to support you too, because she's been through this process, and I think is wanting to launch a second podcast already because she knows how fast and simple it really can be to get your message out into the world.
Yes, I am going to be launching Promise Sounds, which is my ministry-based, scripture-based podcast. It's a thing that I do, which is singing and speaking the word of God and messages from that line up with scripture and the love of God. So I'm really excited about that. And yes, I will be doing that right alongside everybody in this particular class. So I'll be taking the class with you. So when you get stuck, you ask me, because I'm going to ask you if I get stuck.
So good. I'm excited for all of us to be in there together, because when we did the first round, I hadn't planned on doing the class in that format. So it was really the first time to do it. And then when you all walked away at the end of the weekend, having launched your podcast, I sat back and thought, wow, this is pretty amazing that I can give action takers tools. And if they commit to focusing 100% for a single weekend on getting this done, I mean, it can be done. A blink of an eye sounds like a silly phrase. However, some people reported back to me that they were able to do all the work and get their podcast done in 4 hours. So 4 hours in the big scheme of a year or a month or your lifetime is a blink. So let's get it done. Let's stop dreaming about it and just make it happen, because there is definitely somebody out there waiting for you and your kiddos to step into the spotlight and share your struggles, share your challenges, share your wins, and to walk alongside them on their journey.
So in case anyone is watching, because all of that is fabulous and amazing, but they're getting stuck on the fact that we said Facebook Lives, and they're like, oh, I am not going live. You are going to show them the way that they can do it also by not going Facebook Live. Is that right?
Absolutely. I will definitely recommend that you use the power of Facebook Live because there's a lot of reasons why. And I'll explain to you in the class why I think it's the best way to do your podcast. However, if you can upload a video that you do in the privacy of your office, and I'll teach you how to turn that into a podcast as well. So we are going to just use video as the basis because so many people choose to watch a video over reading something. So if you're giving them information in a way they want to enjoy it, that's already a win. We're just going to learn how to magnify and amplify that message by, tenfold, a hundredfold, a thousandfold. And that makes me so excited for all of you because, yeah, people out there need you. So let's make it happen.
Let's make it happen. Thank you so much for being with me here today, Yong, and I look forward to working with you this weekend on this. And so long to all those who are listening to the podcast, watching the video, whether it's live or replay. And always remember to live your life out loud and be bold you.